success is a team sport. And sometimes there's truth in truisms. There's truth in principles. Success is a team sport. You can only get so far by your team. So once I embraced that I wanted to bring on a team, and I focused more on bringing people in the front door, so that I had the right people. Jim Collins would say, get the right people on the right bus. But we got the remix version, right? We're bringing in Hall of Fame players. That's the Shea Brown remix version. And if they're a Hall of Fame player, then I need them on my team because I'm looking to win multiple championships because we are building a Hall of Fame team. And that's who you are.
Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. What an amazing day it's been so far, and no better way to go and have an amazing afternoon with amazing guests. And today we have somebody special. I was able to be on this person's show. His energy, his vibrance, his smile, just who he is. Sometimes you meet somebody that you just connect with. And I had to say, Mr. Shea Brown, I felt that way. I felt welcomed on your show. I felt like I was a VIP, baby. Woo! So welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, Mr. Shea Brown.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel Gomez. I couldn't think of a better place to be than right here at the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. And a shout out to all of the viewers, all of you who tune in. Thank you for being here. I'll promise that you'll walk away with something that's going to inspire you, that's going to encourage you, that's going to help you reach your goals. And thank you, Danielle, for having this platform, man, and bringing some amazing guests. It feels good to sit in the seat. I feel like I'm on the throne. Like, man, this is the place I get to watch other folks share their best ideas. And today I get to have a conversation with you, man. So I'm excited about it. For all of you, stick around. Awesome. Today is your day.
Hey, well, Mr. Shea Brown, I mean, I know who you are, man. You're amazing. To me, you're a rock star, and you're genuine and real in my eyes, and I love you, man. But let the world know who Mr. Shea Brown is. For somebody who doesn't know who Mr. Shea Brown is, tell us a little bit about yourself. That way the audience can know who they're listening to and getting connected with you out towards the end of the show, my friend.
Well, who is Shea Brown? Well, that's a good question, by the way. I'm still really trying to figure that thing out myself, Daniel. So I'm glad you're asking who I am, because there's some days I wake up and I say, well, I guess I'm Shea Brown, the husband, right? I'm on my third marriage, loving life, by the way. I married the person who I was in love with in high school, although she didn't know I was in love with her, by the way, because she was a cheerleader and I wasn't one of those football players. And then Kevin Hart made us short guys cool again, by the way. So now 30 years later, so I'm loving marriage. So I'm a husband first, trying to be the best husband possible. I'm blessed, by the way, because I'm also a father, right? I have two adult sons, by the way, and they're grown. I get to watch them do some cool things. One son's buying his house for the first time. Other son's trying to figure out what he wants to do. You always have folks that want to figure out what they want to do. So that's exciting. So I'm a father. So I get to be a father. I get to be a husband. But then on the other side of the coin, who am I? I'm just like many of you who are watching out there, by the way. I'm also a son. My mother is still here. Father passed away May 2nd, 2017, Marshall Brown. He's no longer here. But mother dear is still here. She lives not too far from here, by the way. So I get a chance to go hang out with her during these days. She knows how to shop online,
Yeah, man.
So sometimes I get the cool just to be a son and be told what to do. But I'm also like you out there. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone out there that want to have more meaning in the world, you want to do more good in the world, you're someone that wants to make a dollar and a difference at the same time, well, that's me as well. I'm also an entrepreneur, but the most important part is I'm on a mission to provide you, the entrepreneur, you, the speaker, you, the author, you, the coach, you, the trainer, you, the network marketer, or you, the person who's an entrepreneur of yourself, with all of the resources. So we are the dream sales team. So we do all of the selling for a lot of our clients so they can generate the revenue that allows them to purchase the sales they need, the marketing they need, the website they need, the administrative support they need. So I'm excited. So I'm just like you. I'm in the field every day, and I'm coming back to you, Danielle. I'm in the field every day. I got my sleeves rolled up. I'm in the trenches.
You're in the trenches.
And I'm excited to be here on this show. So we're going to have some fun. I can't wait, by the way.
Man, well, you know what? I got to say, something stuck out to me with that amazing introduction. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. But I love what you said. I love the honesty that you have, man. You said something that I think most of our audience miss. So this is the time of the audience where I tell, hey, out there, Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, get a pen, get a paper, because it's time to put some pen to paper. Because when you write down your notes, you retain it. And Shay just dropped a word of wisdom, and I think I might have missed it. He says, he's still trying to figure it out. And I think so many times, Shay, I love that sentence. I love you for being transparent, because so many times we put so much pressure on ourselves because we try to figure everything out before we even start moving forward. And it's ironic you say that, because right now, me and my wife just came from earlier. We were looking at a couple of homes because we put our house in the market and we sold it in 6-7 hours. This past Saturday, it was unexpected, and you
sold it in 6 or 7 hours.
Yes,
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, so
that's good. You're like, I'm out of here.
But we don't know. We don't have anywhere to go. So what you just said right now is, hey, we're trying to figure it out, and it's right. And I think so many times we put so much undue pressure on us because we try to figure everything out ahead of time, and it doesn't work that way a lot of times. Sometimes it does. I mean, I'm not saying you don't want to be prepared, because preparation is key to success, and you do want to have just that plan to say. But I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to have the perfect plan, and we never do anything because we haven't figured out all the details. So why don't you speak on that a little bit? Kind of just tell us what your take is on just having things figured out, how people maybe put too much pressure on themselves right there, Shay, whether it's in business or in life.
Yeah. I think about having things figured out. When I first started my business, I didn't have it all figured out. First, I didn't have a plan. So I know some of you out there, you're really cool. You sat down, you wrote this business plan, and that might have been necessary for you. For me, I was someone who only worked for 2 companies my entire career. I worked for Citibank after undergraduate. I went to Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, didn't do sales. And then after graduate school, I went to Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. I worked for Verizon for the next 9 years. And then back on May 31st, 2004, Verizon, my manager, gave me the pink slip, or they laid me off. And you ever been given the box and you've been laid off? There was no plan. I went home and I looked around, and some of my homeboys, some of my friends, they had their own business. So I said to myself, I got some severance. I went down to Kinko's, had some business cards made up. The very next day, I hung my shingle out the door, and I just called myself Coach Shay. I didn't have a name. I didn't have a plan. For everybody else is a coach. Why can't I be a coach, right? And I got started. And then after about 90 days in business, I was tired. I was frustrated. I was struggling. And in short, I was out of money. And hence, I learned the golden rule in business. Write this down in your notes. You don't want to miss this. The golden rule in business is to never run out of money, right? That's the golden rule in business. And really, the only way not to run out of money is to make more sales. Now, I didn't know that. Looking back now, I know that, right? So my experience can become your lesson as you talk about having a plan. And I think it was Mike Tyson. I don't get a chance to quote Mike Tyson too often, but one of the things Mike Tyson says is everyone has a plan until they're hit. Well, when I got hit, I didn't have a plan. And my wife at the time decided that she was going to leave me. When you ever lost a loved one, someone you cared about and you thought you'd be together forever, it doesn't matter if you've been married or not. Maybe you've been in a relationship. It's tough. When a person says, I'm out. And finances will put some pressure on that. Taking some risks that people don't want to take will put some pressure on that. But then it didn't stop there. I figured the thing will turn itself around. But then I looked up and I started burning through my 401k. Don't recommend you do that. See, I didn't have a plan. You probably have a plan. I know it. Burned through my 401k. And then one day, my car gets repossessed. And that might not be your story. I know I didn't have a plan. If I had the best plan, I don't know if it would have worked anyway. Car gets repossessed. I lose the home. Daniel was fortunate. He was able to sell his house. He's fortunate. Not me. Now, what's my point? What's my message is not to have a plan. My message is sometimes, and you can jot this in your notes, sometimes we get hit with the punch that we never saw coming. See, it's one thing, I believe, to have a plan and you get hit. You know it was going to happen because you were doing certain things. It's another thing to not have anyone buy from you. You not know that. And so I learned this lesson that I want to share with you. And it's the crux of my business. It's what keeps us around. It's what allows us to make differences for other entrepreneurs. But jot this down in your notes. I learned that, and this is only after I had first, the never again moment. Jot that down in your notes. Your
Yes.
never again moment. Maybe you had that, right? That never again with,
I love that.
cut the cable
never
on.
again moment.
Yeah, you cut the cable on, and guess what? They say call the cable company. You hit the light switch, and there is no lights. One customer, if they leave you, you can't even pay your mortgage. See, I had to never again when I find myself in that situation. So I learned this phrase. Jot this phrase in your notes. And you write down your never again moment. What was your never again moment? Never again when you borrow money from someone knowing you can't pay them back?
Yeah.
Someone may be looking for me out there. I'm not joking. I filed bankruptcy. You can't find me. Yeah, I know I filed bankruptcy. I'm not proud of these things, okay? I'm just not, okay? But I want you to know the person you see today wasn't always this guy, right? It just wasn't. And so I learned this. I learned that selling is power. Jot that down in your notes. Selling is power. It's 3 words. Selling is power.
So let me ask you this. What was your never again moment? I know you went through all these scenarios, right? I mean, man, I couldn't imagine getting your pink slip, getting, the one you love is gone. And then, your lights aren't on, your car gets repossessed, your house. So out of all these scenarios,
the never again moment for me, Daniel, was when I found myself sitting there and the car was repossessed, and I turned to my sons because they came and told me that someone was towing the car. And I looked at them and said, the car is just going to the garage. And I lied. I'm not proud of that. But I didn't want them to know the car was being repossessed. I wanted them to know if they was just fine. And you tell yourself that sometimes that it's fine. And I said, never again will I have to lie to my sons. I didn't feel good about that. I called myself protecting them. I understood that, but it was still lying. And I said, you know what? Something's got to change. I've got to find a way to serve people and get paid. If others have done it, so can I. And I know sometimes you have that never again moment. And maybe for you, it wasn't having your car repossessed. Maybe for you, it was putting on the extra weight. Maybe it was for you, it was running up the credit cards and knowing you shouldn't charge, but you kept charging and charging. And now there's credit card debt that you got to dig yourself out of. Maybe the never again moment for you was the time that you decide not to talk to a family member and you don't have a second chance. See, what was your never again moment? My never again moment was that lie. And so I decided I was going to change that. And I was able to get some coaching. Yeah, I met some people. But my story the other day was I learned that selling was what I needed in my business in order to generate revenue, but I hated selling.
Isn't that funny though? How many I meet hundreds of entrepreneurs and the same scenario. They think that being in business is getting your laptop, going to Starbucks and chilling and drinking Joe all day and going through Facebook or being on social media, making videos. And that they think that's what being an entrepreneur is. And I think sometimes the word entrepreneur gets jaded.
Yeah.
And because it's like they say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Like you're not, this is, I came up with this quote about 3 years ago because I went through this, kind of what you went through. And I had some clients. I knew how to sell. And of course, you're always evolving and growing and being innovative. But I say you're not a true entrepreneur till you spent the day in the bathroom crying and you were 99.9% sure you were going to give up and you didn't. And I'll never forget that moment because it's like I was crying tears of frustration because it's like I think most people don't like sales. You know why? Because it builds your character and most people don't want to change and evolve to the new you because to become a great sales professional, to really serve and give people value, you got to get out of your own. In other words, you have to put your selfishness aside and it's not about you. It's about Shay Brown. It's about the client you're serving. And I love calling them clients because customer is just a one-time transaction. You want to get clients and most people don't realize that they're buying you before they buy anything. And I love that. So let me ask you this, Shay. I love the way we're segueing this. At what point did you lose your confidence and what did you learn when you gained your confidence back?
Yeah, lost my confidence a number of times, which I can say it was just one time, by the way. But when I lost my confidence most, when I was working with a client, and this was our number one client. And we've been working with them on a 1-year deal. So when you're a coach, you get like a 1-year deal, and it's like that client is like the dream client you dream for that can pay the bills, that can how you have a team, 2 or 3 people working for you. It was a pretty big deal for us, by the way, because we provide sales teams to those folks who either don't want to sell or want to have their own dream sales team, right? Because they didn't sign up to be the number one salesperson of their company. They signed up to run the company. And then I was so sure that contract would be renewed. We had hit our marks, great rapport. And it wasn't until the day of that they were supposed to sign the contract that I got the word, not even from the owner, but from his assistant, said, Shay, I've got the news I've got to share with you. So-and-so has decided to go with someone else. I can't be
Man.
Wait. Our bid is competitive. Oh, it has nothing to do with you. Just after a year, decided it was time for a change. Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with my service. Nothing to do with my team. They like everybody, but yet I'm contract not being renewed. Wait a minute. This can't happen. Not right now.
Wow.
And it was in that moment that I recall sitting there. I didn't have the heart to tell the people who work for me they had to go bye-bye. I didn't have money saved to pay them to the next paycheck. It just didn't exist. And if you've ever had to go share some news with someone that impacted their life, that believed in you, that depended on you, that for me, Daniel, was the moment that I knew that I was an entrepreneur, because just when it seemed like there was nothing left in the tank, I had to reach down and tell me that I could do this all over again, that I could start back up, that I could make some changes, that I could, once I get an account, that I could continue to work hard. And I made a commitment that day. Here's the lesson. Here's the lesson I want to learn, that I want to share with you, that I learned in that moment of pain, which was that I would always remain a rookie. Now, what does always remain a rookie mean, Shays? Well, you know, when you're on the team and a sports team and you're the youngest guy there, and you're the new guy, you're the rookie. So the rookie's got to hustle. Rookie's got to work hard. Rookie's trying to get in the game. Rookie's trying to make sure he gets some practice time. And so he's always hustling. He's always working hard. He's always being creative. Does not stop. And I said, you know what? I will tackle every opportunity as if I'm a rookie, with that same hunger, that same vigor, that same enthusiasm, and never quit. Now, how can you deal with that? Because you might not be an entrepreneur. Yeah, we say, Shay, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Things happen. You should have planned for that, Shay. Where are you going? Okay. I would have planned for that. I'm not an entrepreneur. Well, let me unpackage it a little different for you. I'm a marathon runner. I run 5 marathons. Love running, run all the time. Beautiful. But my first marathon, I got out there and I was ready to go, right? And I got to running, and I didn't train probably as well as I should have been. But at mile 18, I got this 2 shots in my thighs. Bam! Then the other one right in my calves. Bam! And all of a sudden, I said, I can't go any further. Now they call this in the marathon, they call it hitting the wall. When you hit the wall, it's like hitting the wall of life. You get smacked. Yes. And when you hit the wall of life, either you push or you give up. Either you push or you give up. And I decided right there in that marathon, I quit. I said, I'm quitting. I'm done. It doesn't matter whether I finish or not. I'm in the race. Here's the message. I decided, this is what you can do as well. When you find yourself in that never again moment that I'm ready to quit, I decided if I can just put one foot in front of the other foot, in front of the other foot, if I can just keep picking it up and then dropping it, picking up and dropping it, eventually I would get to the finish line. And isn't that how life is? Right now, you may have found yourself when you got to rebuild your health. Well, you just take one workout and then another workout. Maybe you've got to lose some weight. You eat one meal better and then the next meal better. I love what they say about the zone diet. I'm just one meal from being back on track again. Maybe you've dug yourself in a hole and you got to get your financial life ready. Then you spend less than you make no matter what. And I'm going to tell you, if you do small things well, you'll get big results. That's a Shayism. Put that down in your notes. Do small things well, you get big results. That's the message, Daniel, that I share at the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. I don't want you just to be inspired. I want you just to be pumped up. I want you to have an action item you can take. So what's your action item? Identify the big challenge you have in front of you and then make a decision that you're going to start. Mike Littman said, you don't have to get it right, Shay. You just got to get going. Get going right now.
I love that. What you
and I promise you, the magic will happen all by itself.
I love that analogy you use about the marathon and the wall, because I think we all hit the wall. I think no matter if it's you come to that place, and success will do that to you sometimes. I love the fact that you said stay hungry all the time. It reminded me of what Les Brown said. I said, stay hungry. You got to be hungry. You got to be hungry. And so many times I was talking to this. I'm glad we're talking about this because I think there's a lot of people out there in your mind. Somebody that I was coaching, they were working for the government. They left the government. They were making like $50,000 a year. So I said, well, what do you want to make as an entrepreneur for your first year? And guess what she said, Shay?
$50,000.
$50,000. I'm like, why do you want to make $50,000? She goes, well, I don't know, because she was programmed that she was okay with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you want to think bigger. She goes, but I can live off of that. I said, you don't want to just live. You don't want to just survive. You want to thrive.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, that's a lot. I go, she started saying that's a lot of money. And I disrupted her thing. I said, that's a lot of money. Let me tell you that. I said, why don't you stretch yourself? Maybe 50,000 is what you have in your mind, but you know what? Why don't we shoot for 80,000? Give me a number that's odd. Cause I believe when you end like 80,000, it's a lazy man's goal, right? 80,000, all those zeros. No, give me like 81,321. But so many of us, we get to that wall, and that wall is because it's a wall of complacency.
Yeah.
Because we can pay our bills there. We're not happy, but we tolerate the things that we shouldn't tolerate. And that's what keeps us there. And like you say, if you just right, because I'll tell you right now, I'm being honest with you. I'm glad you're on the show because God's speaking to you through me. Because right now, I'm a little bit like, man, dude, I don't know where we're going to live. I don't know if we're going to build a house. I don't know if we're going to go. We went to go look at a couple of houses today. But it's like, I feel like it doesn't matter if I do have a savings account. I still don't know where I'm going to live because I got to be out of the house by the 16th. So what am I going to do? So you're speaking to me with your message, but I don't know, but God knows.
Yeah.
And as long as I keep doing my interviews, making my phone calls, doing what I got to do, where I'm supposed to be, that's going to show up. And I will tell you before this interview, I'm going to be honest because I love being honest on my show is I don't have all the answers. Like Shay said, I don't. And I was here. I took 5 minutes and I told my wife, I feel a little overwhelmed right now because our house is paid off. We could stay here and be good. But something that God put in my heart is, why do you want to settle for good when you can be great? And that next level is greatness. But there's that frustration, right? It's that mess in the middle. So talk about that, Shay, a little bit right now. When we're in that middle, in that mess in the middle, what are two things that our listening audience can learn and take away from that? Give them 2 words of wisdom to take away with that.
Sure. When you find yourself in the middle, I'm reminded of one of our core values here. And one of my core values, I believe, is today is my January 1st. It's a core value, right, that we say often on our show. But let me give you the backstory. Let me give you the narrative I don't think I've ever shared. The narrative of that is I grew up as a preacher's child, right? My mom is a pastor of a church. And back in the day when she was a pastor, it wasn't popular for women to be pastors, by the way, just trust me. I mean, I know it's bad today, but it was even badder back then. I'll say that. And being a pastor's child means sometimes I got in trouble. So I got in trouble in school, right? And I remember getting in trouble and got home and my mom tells me I'm on punishment. Back then, punishment was taking the Atari game away. Y'all might not know about that.
Atari?
Had like Pac-Man, asteroids on it. Y'all don't know nothing about that, but just know my computer that day was taken away from me. Now, I had an idea. I said, I could probably get on punishment, right? I came up with this idea because at our church, which was a small church at the time, it was 32 members, probably 22 kids, right? But every New Year's Eve, we always had to write a letter to the Lord, right? And on New Year's Eve, the whole church would come around, they would pray over this letter, and then they would take the letter outside and they would burn the letter. And that means the letter went up to God. And you don't have to be a Christian to get the point of the story, but the letter would go up and it signified a new day. Like a January 1st moment. And they would say, hey, this is a new day. It's a new opportunity. And your prayers will be answered. So I said to myself, let's go in there and see Mother Dear. So I went to see Mother Dear. I said, Mother, I've written a letter to the Lord. Today is my January 1st. I think I should get on punishment. You know what I mean? I should be forgiven. I acknowledge my sins. And you know what? She said, no. But I kept that one concept in the back of my head. And when I found myself in a lot of dark hours going through something, I would tell myself these words. You might even want to jot these words down. That today is my January 1st. And today is my January 1st means I don't wait for January 1st to arrive. I create January 1st any given day throughout the day when I have those moments and I make a decision. That decision could forever change the trajectory of my life. That is a January 1st moment. So what can you do when you find yourself in a situation where you're like, oh gosh, family members got hit with a health crisis. Oh my gosh, someone's got hit in the car. Oh my goodness, this took place and it's really distraughful. Or you're going through some tough times right now. You know they won't last, but they're still tough. You tell yourself that today is my January 1st. I get a restart. Today is my January 1st. I can hit the reset button.
It's powerful.
Does not equal the future. My father, Marshall Brown, used to teach me that my future is spotless. Like I can go out there right now. It doesn't exist. I can create the future because the future by definition is imaginary. It doesn't exist. And so we create the future. So today, when you go through it, tell yourself, today is my January 1st. Write that down in your notes. Today is my January 1st. I'm back on track with my relationships with my family. Today is my January 1st. I'm back on track with my finances. Today is my January 1st. My health or whatever it is for you that you're going through, you can make it. Now, you can't just get inspired. You can't just say, I'm going to do this. So let me give you 3 steps that you can do. Daniel said give you 2. I'm going to give you 3. Why? Because I'm an overachiever. Right?
Do it, Chase. Do it. Come on. Let's get them going.
It's what we do, by the way. It's what we do. So when you tell yourself today is my January 1st, that gets the energy going. Happy New Year to you, by the way. Happy New Year. Yeah,
Happy New Year. Yeah,
Happy New Year to all you guys out there on the Daniel Gomez Show, Inspire Show. We're celebrating New Year's Day. But what I'd want you to do is do 3 things. Jot these 3 things down. Number 1, imagine. I want you to imagine what's possible. So no matter what you're going through, or maybe things are going really, really well, and you want to go to another level, you got to see it before you see it, or you'll never see it. As my good friend Delatorre McNeil says. So I want you to imagine what's possible for you right now at the office, in your business. The book is now written, by the way. Your family has great health. You're in love. Imagine what's possible. Step number two, believe what's possible. So I want you to imagine what's possible. Then I want you to believe that if someone else has done it, well, so can you. Isn't that so cool? Like, it's not a new idea, but it's an idea that you can adopt right now. Doesn't cost you anything. There's no Cash App payment needed. There's no credit card needed. You can adapt that right now because thoughts are things and things can be changed. So you're changing your thoughts. Someone said, change your story, change your life. No. Imagine what's possible, believe what's possible. And number 3, and I close with this and I come back to you, Daniel. Number 3 is take action. Take action. Today is my January 1st. Take action because the universe rewards people who take action differently than those that don't. So if nothing else, I'm an action taker. I am an action taker. Now, I am an action taker. So yeah, I want you to be inspired. Yes, I want you to be pumped up. Yes, I want you to feel good about yourself. But more importantly, I want you to get the results that you deserve. And you got greatness inside you. You're truly a special individual, and that this is your moment. This is your time. And today is your January 1st.
Oh, man. You sound like a preacher there, man. You're getting me excited over here. But you're right. You know, you just dropped so many truth bombs right there. I hope y'all are writing all this stuff down. You got to just take action. You have to imagine first. You have to believe, and then you got to take action. And man, Shay, that is just something that we can do every single day. And what speaks to me out of what you said is that the moment you realize that we're just a visual being, when you realize that we take in over like 400,000 pictures a day in our mind, I just imagine that we've processed all these pictures. Think if I say cow right now, what are you going to see? You're not going to see the word cow. You're going to see a picture of a cow. If I see cake, you're not going to see the word cake. You're going to see a cake. Well, that's the way our mind thinks, is we work by photos. And the dominant pictures in your head are what's going to pull you to the future that you want. And if you don't like the life you have, you got to change those pictures in your head. And I love what you said, because I think it's 98% of adults after the age of graduation, they never use their imagination again. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
They don't use their imagination and they get stuck and they put these pictures. Think about this. I think about, you're a sports guy. I'm a sports guy. Troy Aikman was paid almost, this is before endorsements were crazy, $250,000 when the Dallas Cowboys first won the Super Bowl. They paid him $250,000 to wear a cap on the podium and talk about, the championship. And he was wearing that cap. And they were like, yeah, we're going to pay him $250,000. We're not crazy, because we know that every second that a kid sees him wearing that cap, that our sales are going up. They're skyrocketing, because kids, human beings, learn by pictures. And I think if more people grasp that truth, Shay, like what you just said, and use your imagination And you just pumped me up right now because as you were saying that, I saw like, you know what? It is worth the struggle right now in the middle that we're at. Yes, I might feel lost because yes, I know we got to be out of our house here in a couple of weeks, but hey, you know what? The picture that I painted is like, I'm going to be enjoying that new house here soon. So it's worth the frustration because we got to go through that mess in the middle, because that's going to build our character to handle the next level of blessing. And that's what I got from what you just said. So thank you for saying that, my brother. Man, you got me motivated over here, brother. So let me ask you this. So I love that, right? Today is January 1st. We got the imagination going. We're believing. We're starting to take action. So this is where most people drop it after they start taking action.
Yeah.
They don't get that immediate gratification. They don't see that immediate result. Well, Shay, I went to the gym a week. I don't see nothing happening. Hey, I ate that right plan, that meal, nothing happened. And then they fail to be consistent. Give us some words of wisdom on how can we stay consistent once we start taking action. Give us a golden nugget to take away. How can we be consistent? Because that's where most people fall off they fall off the wagon because they don't get that immediate gratification. They don't say that. It's like a speaker. I was talking to this speaker like, no, man, like I'm not going to be a speaker anymore. It's crazy. There's no gigs out there. There's gigs. You just got to look for them. But if you look for one gig, well, you're never going to get one, but you got to look for 100 gigs. You might get one or two, and I'll take those numbers any day because it's a law of numbers. So speak to us right now about the importance of being consistent and give us just a golden nugget to take away of what can we do to build that consistency in our life and our business.
Question comes up often, and it's a very relevant question. And I'll share with my father, Marshall Brown, who's no longer with us, who passed away back on May 2nd, 2017, used to share with me. And my dad used to always say, it's easy to do, it's easy not to do. But if it's hard, it's the first thing you should do. And that always begged the question when he said it all the time. He said, like, why, right? That's the first question he asked. Why do the hard things first? And one of the things my dad used to say is that doing the hard things in life develops discipline. Here is the word for being consistent. The word is really discipline, right? So he used to share this formula with us, and I'm going to share with you that can help you. We want you to walk away with some tools. Yeah, we want you to be inspired. We want you to be encouraged. But I don't want you to be intellectually stimulated. I want you to walk away and say, you know what? I can use this in my life when these fiber optic lines are turned off. I can use this in my life when there are no lights shining. I can make this happen. And here's the formula. Jot this down in your notes. D plus D equals D. Jot that down in your notes. D plus D equals D. Let me give you the 3 Ds if I can. It's called the 3D formula. Decisions plus discipline equals dominion. So we have to first make a decision that we want to change, which you've done. We first got to make a decision that we want a different life, that you've done. We got to first make a decision that we're going to improve our health, which you've done. But decisions plus discipline, and this is the magic word, discipline is doing the things that you know you should do when you don't feel like doing it. And where do most people fail, myself included? It's self-discipline. If someone said, what's the secret formula to success? How does success really exist? I would say it all boils down to one word, self-discipline. So when you have decisions plus discipline, self-discipline to do the things you know you should do, then that equals dominion. Now, dominion is a Christian term. I told you I grew up in a Pentecostal church. Not my dad. My dad wasn't a pastor now. That wasn't pops. But dominion means that we have ownership. We have stewardship. If you don't like the word dominion, you can use the word dominate, okay? But here's the inverse of that formula, because for something to be true, the opposite or equal must be not true. If you take decisions minus discipline, what do you get? Disaster.
Yeah.
And that's where most people fail. So when you said, Shay, how can people stay consistent? Shay, how can people hashtag stay the course? I will come back to what Marshall Brown will tell you. It all boils down to self-discipline. Can you will yourself to do the things you know you should do in that moment of decision? And if you can, my friend, if you can, my promise to you is that you'll win more than you lose. If you can, then you adopt this one philosophy that I have that I'm going to share with you, because I'm going to take it up another level. We're going to raise our standards. You're a Tony Robbins guy, right? Raise our standards. Yeah. And how do you do that, Shay? Well, I would take it up from D plus D plus D equals D. That's Pop's version, right? But I'm part of the Puff Daddy generation, okay? I'm part of the Jay-Z generation. We do remix versions. So let me give you the remix version of decisions plus discipline equals dominion. Here's the remix version. It's one sentence. Jot this down in your notes. Systems beat goals every single time. Systems beat goals every single time. Put that in your notes. See, goals are always in the future. You're never there. You want to lose weight. It's not about the goal. It's about the systems you have on a daily basis in order to reach that goal, because success is what? Daily habits that you do every single day. It's a daily thing. So systems are duplicatable. Systems are repeatable. And systems are something you can pass on to other folks. So when someone says they're having a hard time being consistent, I don't worry about if they're being consistent. I look at their self-discipline, and inside their self-discipline, I say, what's the system they have in place in order to create that self-discipline? You show me someone that goes to the gym on a regular basis, I'll show you someone that has self-discipline, and they have a system. They get dressed about the same way. They go to the gym about the same time and maybe do the same exercise. So how can you adopt that in your life? Well, first, make a decision. Secondly, raise your discipline and have self-discipline so you can have dominion. And third, and most importantly, put a system in place. And that's what I like that Daniel Gomez is doing with the Inspire Show. The Daniel Gomez Inspire Show is that he has a system in place to not only inspire you, not only to encourage you, not only give you the resources, but he puts the best, the brightest, and the smartest. I'm not included as part of that group, by the way.
Yeah, baby. Boom. Let's go.
That allows you to say, you know what, let me adopt this system so that my experience becomes your lesson. See, that's the good news. You can take the experience I've had and it can become your lesson. And let me tell you, if Shay Brown can do it, I promise you, you can do it. If someone else has done it, G. Moniz, you can do it. And why is that? Because you have, in the words of Les Brown, a mentor, someone I really admire, someone I had a chance to chat with recently at one of our events back in December before COVID-19 hit. So this was December of 2019. He said, Shay, my secret to success. Because I asked him on the stage, we're on the stage. I said, what's your secret to success, Les Brown? Because you want to ask one question, what's your secret? I ran. Daniel didn't ask my secret yet. But I asked him, you know what he told me? I got comeback power. What? You got comeback power? Yeah. So when I fail, Shay, I got the comeback power to get back up and go it another time. I get back in the ring. I put one foot in front of the other foot in front of the other foot. Remember that? Yeah. And so you've got comeback power. If you got that, my friend, then you can hashtag stay the course. Stay the course. Stay the course.
I love that, man. That's just some value bombs. You got to give me, man. I'm going to give you a round of applause on that one. That's a couple of boom booms, baby. That's just systems beat goals anytime. I hope you wrote that down, because so many of us, we write our goals down and then we don't put the systems in place.
Sure.
And we go back to kind of what we started with as far as the sales part of any business, of anything, right? Because the reality is this: whether you're in business or not, you're always selling yourself. You're selling yourself. If you need a new job, you got to sell yourself to get hired. And so many of us, we don't realize that we are the end product. They're buying Shay Brown, they're buying Daniel Gomez before they buy anything else.
Absolutely. The number one sale you make every single day is to sell to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you fail yourself every single day. I mean, you told yourself what you were going to do before you got up, and oftentimes you don't do it. Right. So you got to make a sale to yourself. And you're like, Shay, I'm not even in sales. I'm not into sales. But as I mentioned earlier, and I want to repeat that preachers are selling faith every single week. Yeah. Teachers are selling education every single day. Parents are selling values every single day. When you wake up, you're selling yourself on your beliefs. You're selling yourself on your actions, and you're selling yourself to use the self-discipline that you have. So the number one sale you make every single day, it ain't to Shay Brown. It's not to your customers. It's to you. And if you're a professional, which many of you are career professionals, you get up every single day, you take care of your family, you have breakfast, you drive to the office, you try to do the best job you can, you pay your taxes, and you come home. You say, well, I'm not an entrepreneur, Shay. I'm a career professional. But you're the president of company YOU. You. So therefore, you are entrepreneur of yourself. You've got to market yourself. You've got to improve yourself. You got to sell your ideas. You got to sell your beliefs. You got to sell people to do work that maybe work with you or even partner with you. So you're always selling, and you are the true entrepreneur. So embrace it. Don't resist it. Hold on to it. And I want to share one last golden nugget. I don't know, we probably dropped 50 plus golden nuggets.
Man, keep talking, man. You're getting a lot of value on this show.
Inspire show. So I got to inspire you to do something, right? Because otherwise we're just having another conversation, right? And that's not why you showed up, right? You showed up because you wanted to be able to what? Change your life.
Yes.
And it's possible that you can do that in any moment of time. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is you step back. I'm going to encourage you to think for a moment. And I want you to imagine that it's 90 days from now. 90 days from now. It's 90 days. Whatever the date is from now, put 90 days on it. And here's the question. What's one goal you've achieved? Okay, go ahead and write it down. It's 90 days from now. You get to create the future. The future doesn't exist. It's imaginary by definition. We're always in the present moment. See, there's a moment, there's a moment, there's a moment. We never get to the future, but we're going to let you create your future, by the way. And then what is another outcome that you've had? It's 90 days from now. You get to paint the picture. Shay, I just did blank. Shay, I'm most proud of this. And I want you to know that whatever you've written down right now, that it's possible if you take the right actions, you put together a system, and you take daily actions every single day and have the self-discipline, you're going to achieve that. And that's my message to you, because selling at the end of the day is service. Put that down in your notes. Put that in your notes. Selling is service, selling is service, selling is service. You're going to serve other people. And that by definition is what? Selling.
I love that.
So let's embrace service. Service to others.
You know what? I think if people made that mental shift in their head that, because the biggest thing I hear from anybody is I don't want to sound salesy, right? Because I do a lot of sales training. And like, who says you have to sound salesy? Like, you're helping them solve a problem, a need, or a want. That's all you're doing. And when you figure that out, you're not selling them anything. You're helping them solve their problem. And who doesn't need help? Who doesn't want to help? But I love the way you put it. You say what I say, but your words are selling a service.
Yeah.
Selling a service. And when you realize that and you just serve to solve problems, I think more people would definitely go out there with more confidence and have that. So thank you for sharing that, man. You just been a word of just wisdom. And one thing that I realize is, especially with people, if they're in business, they undervalue who they are and they don't realize they matter. And I want people to realize that you have the right to matter. You matter. If no one's ever told you that, I keep saying this over and over on our show because I want people to understand that you matter here at the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. You matter. We matter because we brought one of the best sales trainers in the world, Mr. Shay Brown, here, because he cares. He doesn't have to give all this value. He could have just gave us one or two, but he gave us three. So I think everybody needs to understand, Shay, that they are unique, that they are distinctive. And once they realize that they have a uniqueness that nobody else has, and they can tap into that greatness hidden inside of them, their whole life would change.
Absolutely.
So what makes Shay Brown distinctive?
One of the things that makes me, I think, distinctive and different from other folks that are out there is the belief that it doesn't really matter what someone thinks. There was a time that I used to worry about that. Was I good enough? Was I fast enough? Did I talk okay? Was this okay? But, there reaches a point, and it's getting worse as I get older, by the way, but it reaches a point. It's getting worse as I get older, man. By the way, where I tell people that I just want to get some pleasure out of life and that I have one mission, and my mission is to serve others. My mission is to add value to other people's lives. So I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm adding value, I'm okay with that. I remember when I first started my show, they said, you talk too fast, you scream too much, I don't know what you're saying. And I was like, okay. But somebody was listening, and so I just kept on going. I'd never been trained in that. I didn't know. I recall when I first started trying to teach sales training, right? And in the Christian faith, by the way, and I relate a lot of things to the church. They always say the minister is preaching the hardest on what they're going through, right? So whatever he's going through or she's going through that moment, you can best believe they've got their best sermon together for it, right? They're going to come from the heart. So because I hated selling, but I needed it, right? That's the key. I hated selling, but I need to pay my mortgage, right? I hated selling, but I love eating food. I had to what? I had to embrace it. And so when you find yourself in that situation where it no longer matters, then it allows you to go out there and add value to other people. And if you do that, then you just be the best you that you can be. Because when I first started, I tried to be like my coach, tried to sound like my coach, talk like my coach,
Yes.
walk like my coach. And that didn't feel good. And that's why people don't like selling. They always thinking that they're trying to sound like someone else and be a parrot. And it's okay to do that in the beginning, but at some point you find your own voice. At some point you find your own gift. And God's given me a gift, and that gift is to help entrepreneurs get the resources they need. So as I was going through it, just like a minister, I hated selling. I started teaching those skills to everyday people like me who were not born a natural salesperson. Okay, that is not me. I'm a high introvert. They were not born a natural salesperson. Yes. However, what I learned, jot this in your notes, put this in your notes, that selling is a learned skill.
Yes.
So I started teaching other people. If you think about how you learn in 3 layers. First, you go out and you learn it like being a reporter. You go read everything about it and then you learn it. That's one way. Then you start applying it in your own life. So I was applying selling skills in my own life because I was trying to stay in business. But then there's a third level. There's another distinction that you get to when you teach it to someone else. So I used to show up all the time at Starbucks. I used to go up to Howard University. Hey, if anybody need help with this sales, I'm here. And then I started calling companies thinking I could be like Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins. I can come teach sales teams. And I would call and they would say, have you ever done sales before? No, I have not, but I'm calling you right now. The reason I'm calling is that I've learned how to set appointments. I can help your team set appointments, right? And it happened over and over again. And as a result, I started teaching sales teams. I'm not saying that can work for everybody, but what I'm saying is I was doing and living and breathing exactly what I was teaching. Sometimes that's what makes me unique and different. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not someone that's in the ivory or chocolate factory somewhere telling you this kind of stuff. I'm someone that's in the field every day. My sleeves are rolled up.
In the trenches.
I'm in the trenches. I'm talking to clients every single day who are out there selling. I'm working with the sales teams that are out there selling. We sell for companies. So we're not just write books. I don't just do master classes. I don't just do webinars. I just don't do training. I am you. I'm in the game. And so I was sharing that with a client. I come over to you. I was sharing with a client. I said, hey, look, I know we got to go. I was sharing it with a client. I said, look, it's okay. You have a lot of coaches that teach you, and they should, because they're on the sidelines and they're teaching you. They can see the whole game. The difference is what we do. We provide a service and we do your sales. We're in the game with you. So you can be Michael Jordan if you want. We'll be Scottie Pippen. Now, we're underpaid, obviously. That's but we're going to get our money back at the end of the day. But you got a Hall of Fame player. So what makes me unique, what makes me different, is when you put us in the game with you, you're putting a Hall of Famer in the game with you. And for you to win a championship, anybody can have any team. You can get any freaking team. But to have a championship team, you need some Hall of Fame players. To win 2 championships, you need some Hall of Fame players. To win 3 championships, you need a Hall of Fame player. Yes. If you're watching right now the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, I know you're a champion. I already know you're a winner. Only winners show up. Only champions show up. The only question is you're looking for a Hall of Fame player to take it to the next level and to win the championships. And if that's you, well, that's what makes us unique and different. If that's you, that's why we exist. If that's you, you keep tuning in. You keep watching. You keep showing up, because I promise you, you put a Hall of Fame player, it's going to happen.
I love what you said there, because how many of us, we settle for average teammates? We settle for a good player, but a good player is not going to get you to the Super Bowl. A good player is not going to get you to the NBA.
I saw an interview with Lou Holtz, and Lou Holtz was asked in the interview and said, hey, what's one of the secrets to success? He said, I've had some good players, and I've had some bad players, and I've had some good players. But the only way I had a great team was to bring in good players. I've never had a great team with bad players, okay? It just does not happen. And so my recommendation to you is this. This is one idea. If he said, Shay, leave him with one idea you can leave with, I would say this. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I've dropped 50 of them. I believe in all of them. Yes. They're all good, obviously, because I said them all. They all are good. And today is your January 1st. It really is.
I love that.
The idea I want to leave you with, or share with. Success is a team sport. And sometimes there's truth in truisms. There's truth in principles. Success is a team sport. You can only get so far by your team. So once I embraced that I wanted to bring on a team, and I focused more on bringing people in the front door, so that I had the right people. Jim Collins would say, get the right people on the right bus. But we got the remix version, right? We're bringing in Hall of Fame players. That's the Shea Brown remix version. And if they're a Hall of Fame player, then I need them on my team, because I'm looking to win multiple championships, because we are building a Hall of Fame team. And that's
But you know what? I want to say that because what keeps most teams from being a championship team is that sometimes those good, okay players that are maybe the kind of so all-star, they have a scarcity mindset and they want to be ball hoggers. And that's what's keeping the team from being an all-star, from being a championship team. Yeah. And I noticed that. And if you think about the 76ers, I mentioned this before on somebody else's show, is that the 76ers had all the talent. They went to the NBA Finals, but why didn't they win? Because Allen Iverson, so much success that he had, but he had a scarcity mindset and he didn't want to share the ball. And even though he took 100 shots and he scored 50 points, they never achieved that NBA Finals championship because you got to put your ego aside. You have to think abundance. And when you do that, the whole team wins, Shay. And I'm glad you brought that up.
The whole team wins when you do it. And Al Allison's only 5'6", by the way, like me. He didn't have a big man, so he really has some big problems, okay? 5'6", and he's also a Hall of Famer. For those folks that are out there, he's one of the Hall of Famers.
Yeah. But the thing is this, is that one person can't win a team. One person is not going to build a championship team.
Is a team sport.
Amen.
I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Success is a team sport. Look at your team, and there lies your success.
Man, well, we're coming towards the end of the interview here. But how can we get hold of you, Shay Brown? If somebody wants to find out who Mr. Shay Brown is and follow you, tell us how we can get a hold of you, my friend, if you don't mind.
Sure. What I want to do is I want to leave you guys with a gift and a way for us to connect. Okay. And I'm going to give out my personal cell phone number because we have the Happy Entrepreneur Manifesto, and that manifesto is our belief statement. And one of our belief statements of 12 that's in there is the results that show up in your life are just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. Come on, somebody.
Yes.
So we got to get results in your life. So I want you to get a hold of our manifesto so you can see the core values, and maybe some of those will coordinate with you. You'll be able to adopt those. You'll be able to share with someone else. Let me give you my personal cell number. And my number is, and why am I giving you my personal cell? Because every one of you are not going to text me. I get that. But here's the good news. You can. And if it's for you, I want to do that. My number, there's no cost. There's no Cash App needed. And we will stay connected. And I'll send you a bonus video that we do teach the principles on how you can be successful. The number to text, so you get out your cell phone like you normally do, and you would go to the text area and you type in my personal number, 202-270-1662. So you type in 202-270-1662. Once you type that number, 202-270-1662, in the body of the message, just put Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. So Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. That's the bat signal to you and I that we're going to inspire someone. That's the bat signal that we're going to be one candle to another candle to another candle to another candle. That's the bat signal that we believe in the spirit of collaboration. We believe in working together. We believe that success is a team sport. So that number, once you text it, put your first name so we know who you are. Put your last name now so we know who you are. Put your best contact number. Some of you wants to text it to you, so we'll just text it to you. And others of you put your best email so we can still email it to you. And we'll stay in contact. We do a lot of cool stuff, and you'll get to be aware of some of the communities that we have and things that we do in the public. And it's a way for you and I to stay connected over and beyond this conversation that we're having right now. So text 202-270-1662 and put Daniel Gomez Inspires Show.
There
First
you go.
name, last name, best contact, and email. And we'll stay
awesome. What a show, man. Man, we got to, Shay, thank you so much for coming out. And what I want you to write down that last word of wisdom. I think that kind of just summed it up. Just, you got to stop caring what other people say, because you are going to get some people that give you some positive feedback, but most of them are going to be naysayers because they can't do what you're doing. And I love that. And the moment Shay stopped caring, the moment he stopped caring, not in a bad, negative way, I'm not saying that, but he stopped caring about other people's opinions, is when he really started succeeding and taking off. So today, make the decision. And like he said, imagine and believe in yourself and take action. And I promise you, your life's going to start changing. And as you're starting to take that action, people are going to criticize you. Don't listen to them, because the dream's for you. The dream's not for them. God gave you that dream. God didn't give them that dream. So don't go ask your Uncle Joe for advice. Don't go ask your Aunt Mary Lou, because she's never been an entrepreneur. She's never been a businessman or woman. So go out there and take action. And if you love what you heard today, we'd love for you to join our Facebook group, Distinctive Syndicate. We have distinctive guests like Shay Brown here. You're part of a family, part of a community where you matter. And most of you have felt like you've never belonged to anything that's worthy, or even you don't feel like somebody's embraced you and welcomed you. We don't judge whether you think you're a misfit, whether you think whatever you are. I want you to know when you join our Facebook group, Distinctive Syndicate, you matter and you're part of the family. We accept you just the way you are, because I have flaws myself. So we'd love for you to join our community. What an amazing show. Thank you for joining it. That's a wrap for this week's show. We'll see you next week on the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to DanielGomezInspires.com and get your copy today. That's DanielGomezInspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.